We are joined by Deanne Turner, speaker, best-selling author of her new book, which I love, Crush Your Career, and it's crushyourcareerbook.com. Welcome. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you doing today, David?
I am doing great. Let me turn up my volume. Hopefully you can hear me. Everybody, especially now, is looking at transformation, transition, re-engineering, repurposing their career. And I think one of the biggest fears that people have, as we were talking about ego-based consciousness, is how not only do I find the right career, but one that I can crush. And so first, I'd love for your definition of what it means to crush your career.
Well, I think that's just it, finding something that you love to do and can spend a lifetime doing it. Now, people are going to change careers. I've done it myself in the last 3 years, made a huge shift. But finding that one thing that stirs your soul and that you enjoy doing, something that the world needs you to do, a problem that needs to be solved that you can go and solve and find fulfillment in the time that you spend working.
Absolutely. What do you think about the philosophy? I've kind of shifted my paradigm of passion. I believe if people know their what, if they take inventory of their values, personal, experiential, giving, receiving, that we can actually learn to love what we do. And that learning to love what we do is the intention that allows us to find what we love. And it's those people that create resistance, void, shortages from even learning to love something, are incapable of finding or somehow coincidentally interacting with what they love to do.
Yeah, I like to use this framework that I encourage people with, which is, as you're considering where you want to work or what you want to do, you're considering the culture and the competency and the chemistry of that organization. Well, you're presenting yourself. You're taking personal inventory of that for you. What's my personal purpose? What's my personal mission, my personal values? What are my unique skills and abilities? What do I do better than anyone else? What do I want to avoid? It's just not my strength. I want to stay far away from that. And lastly, what's the environment that I want to be in, the kinds of people I want to be around that I seem to excel most when I'm around them. And then once I've done that self-assessment, I want to bring in people who know me really well to give me feedback against that. And that'll really help me as I start searching for a place to use all of those talents.
And speaking of talents, you've written several books that are all revolving around talent and assessment and self-assessment of capabilities, skills, knowledge, including desire, and building the cultures around that and working with very large companies like Chick-fil-A and many others in order to incorporate that culture with the multiple books that you've read. Now, you've developed actual questions that we can determine what jobs are for us. And so I was hoping maybe you could share one or two of those questions that we should be asking and who should we be asking them of.
Yeah, so if you're trying to figure out the job that you want and the kinds of questions you're asking, you're going back to what we were talking about just a moment ago. What are my unique skills, my experiences? Throughout my life, what types of things have I enjoyed the most? And after we ask them to ourselves, then as we go out into the work world, we're asking other people who know us well. Maybe it's a former leader that's coached us in some way, or a mentor. What are you seeing in me that I'm missing, that I can offer, that I might not be seeing? And so once you have that together, you can package that up so much more easier than just sending your resume out all kinds of places looking for a job and not really being targeted about it. You want to have that bullseye of exactly where you're going. And if you approach it in this way, you'll be better prepared for that.
You know what I find funny? There's an old saying that says, the cobbler's kids have no shoes. And being a speaker and author, coach myself and consultant, I often hear my voice in my head saying, man, David, that's such good advice. You should really take it. You're such a hypocrite. And I love someone that is just so worldly like yourself, that has done so much to empower others. You've written these extraordinary books, worked with extraordinary leaders. You've taken people, from a doer to a leader. So I'd love to get into your head and see, what are some of those things that you teach, you preach, you write about, speak about, inspire about, that in the back of your head, you're like, man, That'd be really great if I did that more often.
Well, this doer to leader thing is a really good question, David, because I struggled with that. I started out, I went to Chick-fil-A. It's been over 35 years. Now, I've been retired there for a couple of years, but 35 years ago, I went as an administrator. And so I did a lot of doing, a lot of tasks for a while. And as my career grew, I ended up in a leadership position, but really struggled with, I enjoy doing these tasks. It wasn't just a matter of I wasn't good at delegating. I actually liked doing them. But if we're going to grow in our career, then we have to step back and we have to become a generalist instead of a specialist. And the truth of the matter is if you're a leader, you can just about lead anything, whether you're an expert there or not. If you're a true leader, if you know how to select great talent, help that talent set goals for themselves, hold them accountable for those goals, and give them feedback, then as a leader, you can do anything. So what happened to me at Chick-fil-A, I led in the area of talent for 30 years. And then we launched a new social responsibility sustainability function. And I was tapped to go and lead that. Now, I have to admit, I wasn't even a really good recycler when I got this job. Now, nobody get mad at me. I got it down now. I do it. But at the time, I didn't know a lot about sustainability. I'd spent all this time on talent and culture during these times. And on top of that, they gave me a team that didn't select me, and I didn't choose them. So that was very different when I led hundreds of people in talent that chose me and I chose them. But what I quickly learned is I didn't have to know anything about sustainability. I just had to have experts around me that did and lead them well, free them up to do their job and get out of their way. And that to me is the story of moving from being a doer to a leader.
It's so interesting because to move from a doer to a leader, you have to be a great coach, meaning we bring the best out of other people. We're
Yeah.
intelligent followers. And then I've always, been a proponent and I love mentorship, but mentorship is limiting. And great leaders like you are great coaches who not only can bring the best out of other people, regardless of their knowledge, but also have the knowledge and humility to bring the mentors or the experts that give the most out of themselves. And those are two completely different roles. And they do mesh. You mentor in your expertise, but yet I believe that doer to leader mentality of being a great coach, someone that can bring the most out of people and bring the best people around to give their best to those people, really create a culture into an abundant philosophy. Just real quick, as you have transformed over your years, you've done so many great things. I think about people that retire, and I would say, if you're going to retire, you're going to be tired. And I retired in my 30s, and especially with the behavior I was having, I was getting tired really quick and empty and lonely and sad. But you look like an individual that understands the concept of repurposing. And when you repurpose, all you do is have more purpose. And you certainly seem to have more purpose than you did when you were even working those 35 years with Chick-fil-A and all the great things that you're able to do. What have you learned from that repurposing that you didn't expect to learn? Because you had to be set in some serious routines after doing something for so long. What was the revelation of repurposing that has helped you and that you can enlighten us with?
Well, sometimes I didn't even realize I was that frog in the boiling water and came to realize. And I thought, by the way, I thought I retired young. You really did. But, you know, this season is great because, what I realized is that I had devoted all of that energy and expertise to one organization. And I had the opportunity through the books that I was writing and speaking and those things to impact a lot of organizations. And what I'm most energized about, and I'll tell you, I think I'm working harder than I've ever worked in my life. But right now, at this moment, I mean, this very week, releasing Crush Your Career means so much to me because it is the opportunity to give back. It's taking that knowledge and helping people who are struggling to find a job, who are struggling to grow their career, or may even be transitioning, especially through all the circumstances that we've been in. And this season in my life is all about coaching and helping people to be able to do that. So I'm finding that I'm working harder. I'm repurposed, but that purpose, I thought I had a high purpose before, but when you start wanting to help other people, well, let me end this way. My boss at Chick-fil-A, Truett Cathy, he said all the time, he said, if you help enough people get enough of what they want, you'll eventually get what you want. Well, I have everything and more than I could have possibly wanted now I'm helping other people get what they want.
And it's beautiful to elevate others, to elevate yourself. And you got to go pick up, depending on what your circumstances are. Crush Your Career Book is applicable. Go to crushyourcareerbook.com, and also go to @Deanne Turner, because she has several other books that I have actually read and have given me a greater enlightenment on my own career, my own culture, and my own inspiration. So I appreciate you sharing all of your wisdom with all of us. Please go out, help yourself, get that book, Crush Your Career, crushyourcareerbook.com, and say hi to the Cathys for me. It's been a while. Bubba is a friend of mine from years back, and
Wonderful.
I'm so proud of what you guys were able to accomplish there as well. Thank you. Come back on, sell a lot of books, help a lot of people, and change some lives. I appreciate you, Deanne.
Thank you so much, David. I'd love to see you again. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you. What a great guest. What great knowledge. And I'm serious. If you haven't checked out all those books, I know she's pushing the Crush Your Career, but all of those books, The Impact of Extraordinary Talent and Compelling Culture, Bet on Talent, these are really great books